Welcome to the NFT Podcast, Navah and Paige. I'm very glad for this episode about virtual reality. And so, where are you from and how are you now?
My name is Paige Dansinger, and I'm currently in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the United States. And I'm mostly in Facebook Horizon.
Amazing. And you,
My
Navah?
partner, my
Um,
partner is Nava.
Hello, I'm Nava, also known as Nava K in social. My background's in social media, which eventually turned into social VR, which is where I met Paige in Facebook Spaces. And we both have a group together called Women in Horizon. So we've been building together for a long time.
Wow. So you are already building. Let's start from the basis because I want to be sure that this audience here is going to understand the amazing work that you do. So, what is VR and XR? And for you, like, why is important and why you like it and you joined it?
Well, the reason why it's important is because it's the future of community. It's a way to communicate and feel presence no matter where you live in the world. It's the future. So, as someone in media and marketing and community, it was a no-brainer to be in it, to feel presence in an immersive way and be able to build and create relationships. For example, Paige and I both were in Facebook Spaces, which was the previous social VR platform for Facebook Horizon, and we met. We, continued on social media, got to know each other, and then we went to a Facebook slash Oculus by Facebook conference. We pretty much like real world. We got together with a couple of other people in VR, met for the first time in real life. And then we both started working in Horizon as an early beta tester. So we just sort of, this journey's been really incredible. And that's why I really can't do a talk about social VR without Paige. We also there was a group called AR/VR Women, and we were with, Eva Leone, and we met a bunch of different women in VR building and creating. And Paige was like the museum buff that created all of this. I'll let her kind of talk about all of that, but it's a really interesting way to form a friendship and then continue to build on it in VR and outside of VR too.
Amazing. So
So,
before
yeah.
that, Paige talks us about her museum and the fact that she is a Facebook community leadership fellow. I want to be sure to that everyone understand what is Facebook Horizon.
Facebook Horizon is a social and world building platform. Up to 20 people at a time can gather in a world instance and use primitive shapes, gizmos, and block scripting to create literally anything in the world. With these simple primary shapes, I find that world building equals community building. I'm the
Amazing.
founding director of Better World Museum and Horizon Art Museum, and we use community building to amplify voices in virtual reality and create more individual, group, and community resilience. This work carries through into the mission of Women in Horizon.
Amazing. And so how did you become like Facebook community fellow? It was an application or just like you decided that you were the first in joining this Facebook Horizon because you were into VR since a long time?
Well, Better World Museum was a real brick and mortar space, downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. And in our 8,000 square foot space, we hosted an indoor edible garden, a maker space, participatory mural walls, and a VR center. This Oculus Center um, provided opportunities for over 200 people to draw in our feature signature project called VR Garden. And as people would walk in and through social media contribute and remix to the VR Garden, well, Navah was one of our contributors. But I wrote I submitted to a Facebook Community Leadership Fellow Program, the inaugural FCLP Facebook program in which they host and support community leaders globally. And of the nearly 7,000 participants who submitted, 100 community leaders and 17 teens were selected from 46 countries. With the support of the Facebook Community Leadership Program, I closed our flagship site and I created a pop-up traveling museum, VR Garden, in which visited Shenzhen, Beijing, San Francisco, Miami, and
Wow.
many places around the world, which in a 3-month time rose our numbers from 200 to 4,000 participants in the VR Garden. That work continues today in many forms in Horizon, as well as our Women in Horizon's new Garden Club program. So
Amazing.
it's a summer-long hackathon where members of the Women in Horizon team group community will be creating gardens together.
Amazing. So, as you said, like you are very early in this space, and Facebook Horizon is in beta version. So, for the moment, how many users are inside this space around the world?
Well, I'm a pre-alpha creator, so I was part of the first cohort of 25 people. And Navah was one of the very first friends to join. And Navah and I had the special opportunity to build when there was really only like, 25, 30 or so people. Today, Navah, how do you think that it's grown and how many people do you think are in it?
Well, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get the numbers from Facebook? But
Ah,
with a beta program, you don't really know, but there are many people on it because we've on their Facebook group alone, there's 4,500, and it grows every week. I feel when we first started, both Paige and I, there was really nothing to show us examples besides what Facebook had built. So you had to be a little bit more creative in what you were going to do, because it's not like you could go travel to a bunch of different worlds and get ideas. So really being together in this space in the beginning was so fun because we really utilized all of our past experiences and brought it into Horizon. So, all you need to get into Horizon is an Oculus Quest VR headset, Wi-Fi, and really, to get into the beta, which is just subscribe. The amazing part of it is what Paige was saying before with her VR garden, is that people can build together. Imagine what it would be like to be able to have a product team together in one space to create ideas on what they were going to create in maybe other software, or to build a world and an experience around storytelling. It's a really powerful way to, one, get to know somebody in a very different way. And then also you can, besides just building, you can play together. There's many different games that people have created, like paintball, minefield. It's incredible. So there's not just games, there's not just building, there's also communities. So you can get together with people who have the same like interests as you, and create these really meaningful relationships because you feel like they're right there. It's just incredible. Presence is what really is the biggest sale of VR. And talking about Horizon and the social metaverse, they're going to be creating, I'm sure in future with their cryptocurrency, they're going to have DM and, NFTs in VR. It's a way to actually use it. Horizon isn't a decentralized platform quite yet. Maybe it will be. Maybe they'll allow you to upload your one and only NFT, and I could bring my NBA Top Shop in there. But there's so much to do just in Horizon alone that it's almost like you don't even need anything else. It's very it sparks joy. The KonMari method, the Marie Kondo. I don't know. What do you think, Paige?
It does spark joy, and there are ways to create new circular economies with technology and with Facebook. A little creativity, you can mix some of the Horizon with, for instance, we used a Spark AR filter with a link to bring people into Horizon. And then once you're in Horizon, at the Horizon Art Museum, you could visit the museum shop and actually buy a VR experience. We also have opportunities. For instance, the winners of the Garden Club Hackathon will have a full winners package that they will experience inside of Horizon. So there is great value to a 2-night stay on a cruise ship in Horizon, or to stay at a special island villa. There are senses of value in which we're able to create in whole new worlds. And that is exhibited especially in one of our programs at the museum, in which was sparked by Navah. Navah created a world called Heart of the Community, in which she created headphones. And through her tutorial and teaching me how to create headphones, I created a program at the museum where new diverse women and LGBTQ plus creators make a push button and learn to amplify their voices. Now that's being turned into a whole entire program in which Navah and I will lead together and teach new members coming into Horizon, where we call it the Amplify Voices program workshop through Women in Horizon. So these ideas of creating value, amplifying voices to all the participants at the museum were compensated for participating. So there's other more layers of adding value into new systems of economy through community building and raising each other's voices. I think that they're all together part of the same primitive shape, if you would say. Like it's down to these basic elemental blocks, just like Horizon sets you up with blocks for understanding how to work with the material. These are also blocks of how to work as a system with communities and functions of ethics and law. So what we do here within Horizon actually transforms into the real world, so that in the real world, voices are being amplified, communities are getting stronger, there's new systems of circular economy and valuing each other. And again, communities can work to build a better world outside of Horizon because of what they've experienced with the world building in Horizon.
Wow, you touched so many points. That's the metaverse. Thank you for making me envision it in and all these shapes. And you said you talked about accessibility first, that you just need a VR or Quest, Oculus. And I think it's quite cheap, like $200, and you can access it. So I'm
It's
sure that, yeah. And I'm sure that the cost is going,
299.
yeah, the cost is going to decrease in the next years, of course, thanks to the network effect of how many people are going to join this. You talked about the dimension of the space. You can make already so many stuff inside the space, so you can spend so many hours inside, and you won't get bored, of course. So we're already at a point in which this world is built and has got so many applications. And you talked about value and equality, and that's amazing because you say, I can create some value in this virtual world. I can build this community. I can meet people that otherwise I wouldn't meet in the real world. And it's amazing that you already are seeing that this value can be brought from the online to the offline. So I'm
Mhm.
also envisioning this metaverse like an office. Like I'm at home, so I cannot go like in the office. But if I wear my VR, I'm here, I meet people, I work with them, and then it's not just playing as we can think at the beginning, and that's amazing. So about value and about opportunities and what are you going to envision in this year, I'm very interested in knowing if you've got already some idea of which can be some jobs and jobs or opportunities for people inside this place. Also, that just making community, that is, of course, an amazing feature that is given thanks to Facebook Horizon.
Oh, I mean, I want to stop and I want to. This picture behind me is a great example of that. Paige built a world called Purple Flower Survivors. So not only is it a way to, as we were talking about, empower people to create and play, but it's a way to bring really important topics and subjects into another world where it's another area for people to be able to, work on mental health, work on, not just for a job, but work on living their best life. Paige had this beautiful world where, some people have struggles in the world with many different things. And this is an example of how, she brought in people into this world. They collaborated because they've been through domestic violence. And then there were places in the world where it showed you where you could get more help and who to connect with. So in that area, it's wonderful. So for work, you could be a community guide. You could be someone who hosts a show. You could be a museum owner and have someone go through, and Paige, I'll let Paige talk more on that. And then, beyond that, you could be a marketer inside social VR. So let's say you have a product and you are launching it in real life. You could be the social VR brand ambassador that creates the same experience in VR, because maybe somebody doesn't live in that same local area that you've got this experience, or they're not going to be there for another month. They can kind of test it out a little bit in VR. So you can really extend the person's job to maybe focus a little bit more in VR. And the opportunities, these are endless. Possible, like the possibilities are endless. There's so many different jobs. We have in VR now, you can get you can't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
see it, but a lot of keyboard, and you can build your space through the Oculus platform. You can build a desk, and you can work through the browser inside of VR. So you can even have your real life job inside of VR. So if you're not in California, in Silicon Valley, or you're in Rome, you could still work with a company within a specific area, let's say in Texas, because you can go to meetings, you can work at your virtual desktop, and you could connect with others within your industry that have the same niche and do focus groups. So it's really it's incredible the things that you can do in VR.
Wow. And like Paige, did you wanted to add something to what Navah was saying about like job opportunities and museums and curators and community builders?
Yeah, actually, and it's tied to the Purple Flower survivors background in which Navah was demonstrating. That Purple Flower survivors, one of our community members was in crisis, and I literally had her party up with me. That's when you put your hands together and then you can travel together. And I brought her to a safe space, a brand new world. And with the world building tools, I literally built this purple flower space around her. First, I made a platform, something stable for her to stand on. And then I cocooned her in like this warm embrace of this purple space. And then I made a flower. And before she hopped off of Horizon, she too made a purple flower and put it into this room. Then I invited anyone in Horizon to add a purple flower too, and many more people did. And what happened was people met inside of this space and helped this person find local resources in which to help aid their situation. And today, now that person has a job in which they're a designer using creative technology and their iPad and VR, in which they're you know, helping to build their own new life story going forward from their trauma with the confidence of, they made this purple flower and now they are actually employed
Wow.
designing things with technology. So it's like just such a winning story in which this moment turned into, now she's building a new life, right? One drawing at a time for clients. So, whether it's starting out like on like drawing avatars for people on Fiverr, to creating programs in which help people in hospitals get headsets. One can never kind of come up with the end of opportunities to think of and practical uses for not just their Oculus, but Facebook Horizon specifically, is my experience. Now, Better World Museum has been in other social platforms too. We also exist inside of Rec Room, and Navah has come and been a very important member of our events in other social platforms as well, like Rec Room. But we happen to be in this platform now, building strongly together. And I see it as a seamless experience into not just the future, but like our real lives now. Like, we both currently look like our avatars, for instance. When we're together, we're really together in real life through this video call, but also in Horizon. We're really together, not just with presence, but with play as well. So lately, I've been part of a game design course with museums called Game Plan through Games for Change. And those games are filtering into the things in which Navah and I have been doing as well outside of the museum in Horizon, Women in Horizon. For instance, we host monthly creator spotlights and events in which we have different community members highlighted each month, and we hop through their worlds and play mini games or meditate or have different experiences after an interview session and social.
Amazing. It doesn't neither it seems like it you are talking about war. Now it seems like that you're talking about the real life. So you can do like everything you want now in war. And these are a bunch of amazing stories that, for me, they're also like useful for all the people that are skeptic to join war. So I'm sure
Yes.
that you met on your way a lot of people that say, "Oh no, it's fake. It's not how real life. I don't like it. I prefer to meet people." What do you say to these people? What do you think for that instead they can understand more about why joining these war spaces in an accessible price too?
Well, I mean, do you know anyone who has PlayStation? That's the first question I ask. It's with Fortnite and Roblox building their own metaverses. The main thing that I would say is for $299, you could connect with others that also have this VR headset in a place where you feel presence as though they're right next to you. You can use your creativity to push boundaries. And I always say, have you put on a headset? Because before you knock it, you have to try it, right? And
Yeah.
whenever someone puts on a headset, I've never had the experience where they've said, "This is so stupid." They always like, "Wow, this is crazy. So you building this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can too, because if I can do it, I'm not a coder, if I can do it, anyone can do it." And a great example of case use too is, besides training and all the things that enterprises are doing, just from the game developer perspective, there's a woman named Anna Ribeiro. She created Pixel Rip 1995, and she has a game in the Oculus platform and in PlayStation. Well, she built a world as one of our Women in Horizon monthly meetups that was an icebreaker around her character. So you could dress up as her character. I can grab the picture after I talk about it, and really immerse into the game and sort of connect with the player. So it's a way for also game developers to come in and create worlds that resonate with their market and create a closer relationship, because really all the branding talk there is out there, it's always about connecting with your customer, having a personal voice for your brand. Imagine hanging out with your customers as a brand. That's a lot better than having someone comment about how they're not happy with something with your product. Now you can actually say, "Hey, let's meet in this room that we've created. We'd love to see what the challenge was. Let us help you." I mean, that's real customer service. So, when you start talking that way and you show the proof with stats, people normally just either glaze over and say, "I'm not there yet," or they are interested and they want to learn more.
Yeah, that's amazing for brands. That's an advice. In fact, I wanted to ask you more about from the customer, from the user side, but also from the brand side. But I think that's a good example for brands to join this place. And another amazing thing that excites me about what you're saying in War is not like social media that you just participate and you communicate and you share, of course. But
Right.
here in War, you've got the possibility of build this place in which you are. It's an open world in which you can try so many. You can be a builder, like I can build a city and something that I could have never do like in real life because it's impossible. And people are going to use what I'm going to create. That it's really another level aspect from social media. And in terms of, I'm curious to know more in terms of user experience, in terms of graphics. Are you satisfied with the actual level that you see now, or do you expect for now in the medium term, in this year, next year, some software update that is going to increase and get better some features? In this case, which ones?
There's been a ton of updates. There was a recent update on the refresh rate. So just think of the computers when they came out in the 80s, or actually earlier than that. It was that like 8-bit pixel style, that was the image you had. And people were happy with it then. I know I was. Um, and it will grow because the technology is growing, and as more users join and as it becomes more powerful, there's going to be changes to the avatar. There's going to be changes to the vision, to the way it feels. There's going to be holograms because augmented reality and virtual reality will connect. It'll really be that immersive experience. So right now, I mean, I'm happy with what I see. It's the beginnings of the metaverse, right? So you can't expect them to make it perfect. And they're also Facebook. So the light is shining on them with security, privacy, it better be awesome, better than any other platform. And that's a lot to have. So I think that's why they're doing this beta program for as long as they've been, just to make sure they've got it all right. Check the boxes. Let's make this a good place for people to create meaningful relationships. What do you think, Paige?
Yeah, there's constant updates, and a lot of platforms are able to grow beautifully because, there's so much funding being poured into new platforms and existing. I know Rec Room had a massive year, and this Horizon is coming out strong. But also, there's other platforms, whether it's Neo or
I love Neos.
Synomium or
Premium space. Yeah.
Engage, and I mean they're all
What's the difference?
really
What's the difference because between the one you said now and Horizon? Like, because you say I love it. Well, what do you think is the different?
well. I do know how to use Unity, but I prefer building inside of the program in which I am, and that I'm able to do inside of Horizon and Rec Room. The block scripting makes it super accessible to learn for new creators. If you've ever tried Scratch by MIT, in which really young kids are able to figure out how to learn pretty easily, and adults of all ages, it's pretty simple. It's like playing with Legos. So I find Horizon even easier than that in building, and it's color coded too. So really, I like being a creator rather than a consumer. For me, that's important in how I spend my time in VR. I always love going to my friends' events and other platforms to support their work and other community efforts. But when it comes down to it, I maximize every bit of my time, and that is through social world building. One of our recent projects was the Van Gogh Gallery Games, a series. It's one gallery with 8 works of art, and next to each of the works of art is a portal door in which people are able to transport into a mini world game. So after you play the games and unlock a code, you bring it back to the main gallery to have a final prize. What has happened is that other community members have been so excited by the project that now they have created some of the worlds. We have Night Cafe and Van Gogh's bedroom created by other Horizon community members. So by creating a platform, just a gallery, um, it sparks community excitement, engagement, play, building, and a confidence, like a sense of, if I can build something, I
Wow,
can do anything in the world.
it seems so. Yeah,
I would
please, please,
also
please.
say the differences is if you're talking about someone who's just starting out in VR, the whole avatar anime feel can be a little scary because you don't really know who that person is. With Horizon, it's connected to your Facebook page, your Facebook profile, so your personal Facebook. So because it's connected, you know the person, and if you don't, you can always go and look, and get the basis of who they are. So it's a really good connection because you're able to feel a little bit safer, right? You know the people, you could friend them before you friend them in VR to kind of get to know them first. There's a lot of things that can play in. Another area is, for example, some Neos VR, as Paige was saying with coding, it's a little bit more programmer background. So building is harder to do, but it's a lot different, and there's some great tools in there, like you could stream to Twitch, Discord, and some meme space. I mean, they have the new the David Guetta DJ, that is going to perform concerts, and with Facebook, they do have venues, which has the same avatar as the Horizon system. So there's a concert playing there too. There's just so many different ways you can connect these different VR worlds. It's really just like, do you like Facebook? Do you like Instagram? What's your favorite social network? So they all have the same mission, which is to connect people while defying distance and create meaningful relationships, but it's in different niches. So, VR chats, really powerful. You can do a lot of different things. They don't have one form of avatar system. You can actually create your own avatar and upload it. So it's, and Rec Room, of course, the unicorn, as Paige was saying,
And I love all the fashions in Rec Room. You always look really cute.
Yeah, I mean,
the jacket
on that. You go in, you look in the mirror, and you can buy different outfits for the way you feel that day.
And you can send something to your friend. You can buy your friend a dress.
I know. You can open presents when you're done. So it's a reward. Whenever you're playing a game, you get a reward. You get enough points to open a box and your points pop out. So there's just a lot of different VR worlds, but they have the same mission, really, is to connect people. So it's like the metaverse, except the metaverse, it's this word that's really just the biggest buzzword ever right now. And it's the most interesting is how the NFTs or the virtual goods are going to be coming into play. Because if I have virtual goods in Roblox, I'm not going to be able to transfer them into Horizon. So it's a lot of recreation. So it'll be interesting how they package all of that once they've got the set platform ready to go and more people are using it.
You mentioned a lot about creating communities. Mentioned NFTs and metaverse again, and I've got different questions, but I think that I want to start from the community side because, of course, it's a huge tool for creating communities, how you're saying. And for me, the first community that we need to build is the communities in school, because I don't know if students of the same class sometimes they feel so connected as they should be. So is Facebook Horizon creating some specific projects for education and school in the US? Is Facebook Horizon building a bigger user base of students? And is it in the plan of Facebook Horizon?
I know that it's in the plan of Oculus, which is, run as the VR platform. Before they do it, they've got to put a lot of safety protocols in it. And also, VR isn't really something that's been tested enough for children under the age of 13. So that part's going to be interesting as time goes by. They definitely have, support systems in education in many different ways. But it's really, the communities have built some educational classes. I mean, there was a scripting class, but, you just have to be careful with 13 and under when it comes to virtual reality. There are some places that have actually Paige created a Horizon art museum where, people were coming in and learning about the art and people were, and kids over the age of 13 were helping her even build the world. So there's a lot of opportunities to teach education. The challenge is 13 and under really has to wait until there's enough data to show that it's healthy for kids under the age of 13 to put on a headset and stare into it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, in Rec Room, we champion teen leadership roles. We have 11-year-old artists in residence and 13 and 15-year-old architects and virtual holotar educators and DJs. We really focus on amplifying young voices and putting leadership right um, into their minds, because, well, now recently one of our 15-year-old architect, now his work has been shown at the World Health Organization, as well as he just presented at a panel talking about avatars. His whole life has really changed from raising his confidence and becoming a leader within side of VR, not just in building, but also as a leadership role. So, but in Horizon, we even, Navah and I also created a um, Horizon Art School, in which the school has climate hackathons and more world building, amplifying voices workshops in the future, and also doors to the heart of the community world, which was Nava's first community platform world. Really, I feel as though it's not the platforms, but the community led programs that are pushing education the most. There was a team of young new people in Horizon in which created a school for classrooms, different math to sciences. And then there's another creator in which hosts scripting classes and other creator spotlights, and offers world tours. So really, the people inside of the platform are building these pathways for education and learning more. Even there's some world hubs in which are about just solely how to build in Horizon, created by Horizon users.
Yeah, we're like the personal development hub by
Yes,
Flutterby.
yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, there's a lot of wonderful communities being built inside of Horizon. I could show you pictures and images all day. And yeah, shout out to Alex. He's Vidu. His tutorials are incredible. We can send you the link to share out to your community too if they're interested. He really takes, anytime there's an update, he takes so much time to really teach others and then uploads it to YouTube and shares it with everybody. So it's really a sweet, interesting way to connect with others and help them as they are on their journey to build their world of what they want inside of social VR or or the metaverse, whatever you want to call it.
Great.
Super cool. Like you know what? I'm thinking that one day I want to make this podcast in VR because it's boring to do it. Because I'm thinking that I want to make this episode directly in VR when we'll have a bigger user experience and user base in this metaverse. And you mentioned, of course, education now. For me, it's amazing to see these kids that are using these tools, because 10 years ago, when I was their age, I I could have never imagined something like that. So technology is going very fast, and in terms of technology, there is, of course, something new that we've seen now. That is NFTs. That this is the reason why we are doing this podcast. So, what do you think about NFTs? Do you think that thanks to NFTs, we have now like the closing this point of this virtual economy. And now, thanks to NFTs, we can really build an end-to-end experience in this virtual world. And if there is some particular project or application in NFTs that you saw or that you think that we are going to see in the next year, because for now I see we are seeing more art related to NFTs. Of course, it's a huge tool for empowering creators, but I really care. Something that I learned from this podcast is that I really care about a new kind of value. I like to call it a second layer of value that can be added on top of NFTs. So, which kind of value do you think that NFTs are going to bring in 2022 in the next year to this metaverse and virtual reality space in which you are working since a lot?
Well, NFTs, December and January with GameStop really blew out of the water. So, the pandemic helped a lot of the immersive technology move forward. With the research that I've done in NFTs and the value in it is, I've always really been focused on artists in VR because they are building the worlds that we're going to live in tomorrow. And I like the idea of NFTs because they're finally getting paid. Okay. They're finally getting paid what they deserve. And they're able to really reach a wider audience besides just the VR, AR, spatial computing worlds, right? With the next computing platform, there's not enough people in it that are making money that could actually buy the art or pay artists to create. So NFTs have really given them this pathway to making money. So I see that as the number one value. The other value is that, brands getting on board and accepting NFTs, and with Dapper Labs, with the flow chain, making it so much easier for the mass consumer to purchase is what's the game changer in the future or the next year for 2022. You're going to see people use it instead of just for investment. They're going to buy it. They're going to have it. They're going to use it as, things that they share in their social or pull it into, the crypto voxels, I forgot what it's called. I guess Somnium Space and Sandbox VR. So they'll pull it into their worlds that they create, or like the Roblox style versions through their computer. But currently right now, they're making a lot of money because everybody's looking at it as an investment because of what happened with GameStop. So, the decentralized way of purchasing with group buying and all of that really kind of put NFT up on this pedestal. And with technology, like I said, with Dapper Labs, it's helped it sort of explode. The next part is going to be really people building 3D in VR and then sharing it within, like Paige was saying earlier, it's the community that creates that VR world or the community. So that experience people will be packaging up the work that they do and selling it through cryptocurrencies. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next year. I think we're all rebuilding still in our IRL, right? So I'd like to believe that NFTs, you'll start to see a little bit more with fashion pulling it out, because now that the pandemic's over, just like with the Spanish flu, innovation happened. I mean, Chanel came out of the Spanish flu. So, people like Chanel who built like an empire with fashion. So when you see fashion pulling into the NFTs and the virtual goods, you're going to see a lot more of it in the future because people are using their avatars. I mean, people have avatars on Facebook now. So, you have the kids in Roblox, you have Minecraft, and there's not just kids in Roblox, there are also adults. So I don't want to say that and just point them to that. But there's a lot of different technology that they can use these NFTs in now. That's my take on NFTs and the metaverse.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely. I think that we really close a big point on this. And
I'd also like to see, going forward, we're world builders, right? We can create a new world. So in decentralizing NFTs and even future economies, we can even decentralize that even further. So right now some NFTs are still connected to climate impacting resources. And I'd really like to see us be able to, like, for instance, at Horizon Art School's climate hackathons, we take primitive shapes and create solutions. Can we not take those same primitive shapes in our real world and create solutions for this as well? I just really see that NFTs and blockchain could actually be run off of sustainable, like solar or hydro or other power sources, and or even from our fashion itself. There could be, for instance, there could be little shoulder pads with solar gaining energy sources and sensors that when we're moving, we create energy. And can that not be our enabled fashions can be running these energy sources? So looking at different ways of, like, breaking it down basically again into these primitive shapes, primitive ideas for a more sustainable, better world. I really think that we don't have to be beholden to even the giant systems that there are for these decentralized economies. We can even go off the grid further. That's how I feel.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love this perspective. And I've got one last question because you mentioned blockchain, and I thought that I don't know. I don't think that Facebook Horizon is built on top of a blockchain. So, do you think that one day, like Facebook Horizon, is going to be built on top of its own blockchain? Is Facebook, I don't know, maybe developing its own blockchain? So it's a switch that we definitely are going to see, because we're not just going to see Flow and the other Ethereum and the blockchain that you said now, but also the unicorns. So the big tech companies, they are building their blockchain, and we are going to use these applications like Facebook Horizon on top of them.
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm not sure how it's going to be set up, but I know that they have their own digital currency called DM, and they're launching it, I think, this year, from what I've read. So on the blockchain, I'm not sure it's going to be that way, but I've worked with, like, Sutu is someone who Michelle, or the Bad Lament, created this like environmentally friendly NFT. So there's a lot of unicorns there, and I think it's called Hynuk. Do you know who I'm talking about? Hynuk. I have to remember exactly what it's called, but that's an environmentally it's an environmentally friendly platform to sell NFTs. It's gonna bother me so much that I can't remember.
No
It's
problem.
High
Yeah.
Nuke, like High Nuke or whatever. So and the Bad Lament, Michelle Brown, she has a ton of resources that she created. I've helped Sutu with some of his stuff. They've worked together on partnering and really bringing the voice of these unicorn platforms that really care about the environment and also want to help artists, and pull them up. There's even a social network for NFTs that it's called Showtime by Alex. So there's a lot of different things that are changing. And from what I see, Roblox has Robux, Fortnite has theirs, or Epic has theirs. Fortnite has every Madden, football from PlayStation has its own bucks. So I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a little bit more of which one wins, and there'll be maybe more partnerships, because we're so early on. People are still testing to see what works. I think what Facebook is going to do with DM is going to be interesting. With it really, I feel like NFTs and cryptocurrency, the blockchain, the whole blockchain actually just follows whatever Elon tweets. Because as soon as he tweets something, that becomes the number one. So I guess we have to see, what Elon's going to be tweeting in the next 3 to 5 years, because he's creating space marketing, where you can go to outer space. So it's a very, very open-ended world we're living in, and who knows how it's going to be. I just know how China is. People pay with their eyes. So it's going to be a really crazy next 2 years for innovation.
Definitely. I got it. Thanks for sharing it. And thanks really for coming here today. I appreciate it a lot. And thanks for your time and for sharing with me or your knowledge and your experience in this virtual world. Can't wait to join it and buy my VR and see you in the metaverse.
Yes. Oh, and one thing I wanted to say, if you're interested in learning about how to build in Horizon, or, be a part of our Women in Horizon Facebook group, well, we'll share it with you and you can share it with others. Paige is an incredible artist. She has a website, betterworldmuseum.com. You can learn everything about her. She's always doing things for others, and really giving back to the world, and trying to amplify voices. And diversity and inclusion is really at the heart of everything she does. So definitely check her out.
Well, thank you, Navah. I'm always inspired by your work in bringing together the heart of the community and being able to use marketing, branding, PR, and social VR to, once that work is in place, to share it with the world. So together, it's an honor to lead with you.
Amazing.
Yes. So
Keep
hopefully see you
sharing.
in the
Yeah.
metaverse.
Keep sharing. And of course, I'm going to link in the description all the website that you mentioned so that people interested can reach you easily. See you soon. And thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks to the NFT podcast community.